So we've bought this pick bike. I bought it new, bought it off that chap there, and that'll be the last time I'm dealing with that chap there. My daughter isn't getting on with the kickstart. It's far too heavy to start the bike. It's a 140. Didn't pay for the electric start, foolishly, and also she's having a bit of trouble with the clutch. So we've decided to go to Pit Bike Spares in Ulster, Warwickshire. Not a sponsored video, I've just had very good service off them. And I bought this Lil Fran unit, and I bought the complete package, so the carb, the Mikuni carb, the better carb. It's a big port engine, the loom, the electrics, the lot, everything all for the package, and that cost £270, which is absolutely amazing. Lovely finish, well presented, well boxed, really chuffed. So at the moment that engine's just resting there, and it lines up perfectly with the engine that come out. This is basically a stomp bike is what this is. So we're going to put all the bolts in this engine now, and then we'll simply go through the kit and show you what you get with the kit with them, and that's really the purpose of this video. The sump guard is slightly different to the original because you've got the hole just there, and that's for the starter motor. For this bike I plumbed for the bottom starter motor mount as opposed to the top starter motor on top of the engine, because the chap said that I'd have to have the carburetor facing forwards if I had a top starting engine, and obviously being a dirt bike that wouldn't be too good for the air intake. So yeah, bottom, and that's that. So that cost me £8, £9. Again, brilliant value. Here's a little gasket you get for the manifold, a little O-ring for the carb, some nuts and bolts, and a countersunk. There's the manifold. Quite a rough cast manifold. There's no love been going on there to the finish, but the machine faces are very good. This is the carburetor that comes with it, the bike originally, and it's a Molkt, M-O-L-K-T, however you say that. And this is the carburetor I've plumbed for on the new one in the package, and this is a Mikuni. Obviously they're quite common, everybody knows that brand if you're into this kind of stuff. Although you could say it's a like for like copy, one of them's a copy. The Mikuni carburetor is generally, the finish is a lot better. All these are properly cut, those are cast threads here. This is a machine face, this is a turn face. It appears that it has a slightly bigger bore in there than this one. I did buy for the bigger bore carb, but that is just generally well made. When we were using this one, we had to keep the carb up, keep the choke up, keep it in. It wouldn't stay up because all this spring's just cheap, whereas the Mikuni one does actually click. This one you just had to kick and hold that up at the same time, which was quite a faff. So there you go. They look near enough until you've actually got them in your hands and you can realise the quality difference between the two. I took the bowl off in this one. There was all bits of aluminium in it from the manufacturer and all sorts. Quite a poor quality control on this one. This one's really nice. I can't actually use this manifold because it kicks the carburetor that way, and I can't get the air filter in here. In fact, I can barely get the carb in, which is a shame because it was a lot lower to the engine, which means I could get to the choke easier at the side. But we've had to go for the original style high-rise manifold, and that takes it directly pointing towards the rear where there's a lot more room for the air filter. Assembled the slider now onto the cable, just simply clicks in and then put your spring in. I've left the circlip on the needle set as standard as it comes because she don't need no more power, so that's fine, and I've not got the time to start mucking around tuning bikes. Electricals, so we have this is all in the kit still. That is a starter relay, I'd imagine that is a rectifier, AC to DC rectifier, because it's capable of running lights, this bike, and also for charging of the battery. So the battery is obviously DC, generates in AC, so this will give you AC to DC. Coil, on off and start switch, ignition, which fortunately this pit bike that I've got here actually has the hole for this, because the frame is also a road legal frame in some circumstances, so that's quite convenient. Lead and the main loom, various plugs and things on there, 12-volt fused, and your earth, and a CDI unit. This is where we are at the moment. The engine's fully in. I've got a bit of tidying on electrics to do. Now we need to mount this battery here somehow. So I think I'm going to use these 2 points here, maybe come off here, or maybe down here, but either way we need to make a little tray to hold this flat and secure it. I've ordered a rubber band to go over the top of the battery, but for now it will be a cable tie. So I just finished knocking this up now, just out of bits of scraps. I got these little bits here, these little hooks are for the rubber band that goes over the top, which I've ordered off eBay, which was $2.99, and that simply fits in here. Now we're going to fit that. What we're going to do now is this bit of plastic broke off. It's on a little injection molded little stud that come up here that you put a self tapper in from this way. Well, needless to say, a self tapper isn't good enough for the little stud to hold this on, and that snapped off. So we're simply going to use that as a guide, drill through there, put a riv nut. That's not a riv nut. Anyway, put a riv nut through there, and then this is going to actually screw on with a little stainless steel dome head bolt. It'll look a little bit better and a little bit stronger as well. Put the riv nut in there. I've actually done it backwards because you haven't got the luxury of having it expand out on the back, because it would just simply break through the side of the plastic. So I've actually put it in backwards, still expanded it, but only enough to keep itself in. When this is obviously tight, it will come against the larger surface there. Drilled through there, picked up on the existing hole that was there, the existing stud that the self tapper used to go into, and that looks a lot more presentable now. This is another good product. This is my third one of these for my various bikes, cars, camper vans, whatever you. On offer at the moment, £20 on Amazon with a £2 voucher if you're a Prime customer. This is not sponsored. I am not linked to these people. There is nothing to do with me and them, other than this is the third one I've purchased. Absolute bargain. You think it's going to be a load of crap, but it isn't. Now, just have a look at what you get for your money here. You get obviously your charger, then you get a plugged end, which is great because you can fit either your crocodile clips or you can fit your eyes, which go straight to the battery. And all this for 20 quid, and it does 6 volt and 12 volt and various sizes of those batteries. Little rubber clips on there from eBay, holds the battery soundly in the case. We'll pop the seat on there and give this a try. So I plumbed for this gear selector indicator. It's for a 6-speed motorbike. You've got your neutral and then your 6 gears, 7 wires there, which are all earths, and this one here is your live, which is just comes out the back of here. I can't find a holder for this one to mount it onto the handlebars or anywhere else for that fact. You've got to make your own, and I can't really be bothered. So I did find this one here, which is for the more expensive speed selector indicator, and its intention is that the lead comes out through the bottom. There's your LCD display, and then your lead comes out through the bottom. Now those are ranging from 33 to 74 £, those indicators. One's bike specific or the 33 is non-bike specific. I'm not paying that. This is all a bit of fun, just to give put a mind at rest of what gear she's in. It's not really arguably needed. So with this, we're going to adapt it to fit this one. This was £4 from China, as opposed to the cheap ones at 33. So we're going to cut these lugs off and get it to fit inside here, and maybe do a bit of filing with the bracket, and this will then mount on the handlebars, and she wants red. So let's get that to fit in there now. So I just lick the little lugs on the side that you would use to locate it. So there's still a slight tab there, and that stops it passing all the way through. And now, yes, it will stick proud like that. We're going to put some sealant in there, bed it in with some sealant, wipe it round. But sticking it out that far and now enables it to be happy against the handlebars, whereas if we was to have it flush, we couldn't mount this. And like I say, this isn't the correct one, but I'm not paying that money to fit the correct one when this will do the job perfectly. Plus it will get smashed off soon anyway. So that's it all completed. I've brought the wires through the existing holes down the bottom and then sealed over the top, so when it's compressed against the bars it won't damage it. I cut a little trough in the existing back of the LCD, the connector block, and it come out quite nice. You see it's thick, about 3mm thick, so it should protect the cables, and we'll be able to bolt that on there. So we need to find a switch live for the gear selector. So flick your key on, you need to find out your lives here. This is the wire directly from the ignition, that is the ignition wire there. So we got here 12 volts, well 13, and then straight black is also 13. Turning it off, we lose 12 volts on the black, but we keep it on the red. The green and the black with the line, which is an earth of no voltage obviously. Turning them back on, we get the voltage back. So on this bike black is your switch live. Upon opening this section of loom up, we can see a load of grey wires go to the coloured wires at the plug. This is obviously part of the manufacturer when they make it. So it's just simple to simply cut back the heat shrink and then solder the wire in with a bit of electrical tape round. And that's it. I was going to use another plug, but realistically, when am I ever going to take all this loom apart? So this is the plug that comes off the engine. That's the existing lead. It goes down to the Selector down the bottom. Now you only get the male side of this, but you can buy these 6-pin plugs. I'll pay 75p for this and the pins, so bought 2, and here it is here connected. So these are the wires that I extended from up here. Simply connected the live here as you saw, and then took the further 5 leads, that's a neutral and 1, 2, 3, 4 down to here. To find out which is which, simply select your neutral, meter it from here to your earth, there to your earth, there to your earth, there to your earth, and select gears as you go, noting which pin connects to earth each time. Only one pin will ever connect to earth once, unless of course you miss a gear. You may need to rotate the back wheel just to make sure the engine does click into gear. Don't do it with the engine running, there's no need. Once you know what pins they are, what wires they are, write them down. And it doesn't matter that I've extended all these in whites, because you simply terminate your pins and then stick them in the right hole until it lines up correctly with here. It's all neatly now cable tied out the way. Plug works a treat. We got 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. There we go. Just get that shit off of there. That's better. Really hoping on completion of the engine swap that the COVID restrictions would have lifted slightly and the enduro circuits would be open and the competitions would have resumed, but at the moment sadly they're not, so we can't show you the door to razzing around on this. We've got a postage stamp size garden and I'm no Graham Jarvis, so I can't go bouncing off the sheds like he does. So that's about it for the actual movement of the bike, display of the bike as such. There will be no further videos. I want to get the channel back to what it really was. We've been a bit motorbike biased lately, so I want to steer it back a little bit. So to conclude, I bought my bike brand spanking new off these people here. Simply don't upset yourself. There is far more than I am saying on this, and I'm not going to go into it on YouTube. It's not the platform to do it. It's not the place to do it. Just don't. It's a Stomp bike as a whole. It's excellent value for money. It's a lovely spec. It's a good looking bike, but don't kid yourself for 1 minute that this is some sort of Honda Quacker KTM, whatever takes your biscuit, because it isn't, and it never will be. Take it for what it is. It's a lovely for me starter bike. I just think it's excellent value for money, and when she rips all the casings off in a few weeks time, it's all cheap as chips. It's all on the internet. You can get the parts really quickly, really easy available. I've lowered the shock absorber, the front fork, sorry, through there to give her a bit flatter footed, but also bought a shock for the rear that's shorter, and it has compression and rebound, and it's gas filled, because the shock you get with it is quite crap, which is understandable. It's fair enough, it's a cheap bike, and it gives her a bit more sure footed on the ground. It's now obviously got the lift fan engine in it, with the gear indicator, electric start, and key switch and neutral. That engine is absolutely superb. The takeoff on that engine is amazing. Alright, Fat Dad with his ass on the back. This thing's pops wheelies without even trying. No clutch, no nothing, just whack, open, up it goes. Absolutely brilliant. It's a lovely, lovely safe package now. Can't recommend it enough. It is what it is. Stay safe, people. Fingers crossed for the tracks opening.